Since President Putin came back to the Kremlin in 2012, Human Rights Watch has documented a steady decline in human rights protections. The passing of the anti-NGO law, the threats and dangers for journalists, and the difficulty of human rights advocates to operate, for example, in Chechnya. All of these things are negative. They have a negative effect on Russia's image in the world, and I think they are part of the story of the World Cup. The main concerns in Russia over human rights around the World Cup are the following. Human Rights Watch has done a report called Red Card, where we document the abuses of migrant labor, including wage cheating, unsafe conditions, and 21 workers have died delivering the World Cup. We are also concerned about press freedom, both for journalists in Russia, but also for journalists who will come to Russia. We are concerned about the crackdown on civil society. We are concerned about the law restricting protests. We are concerned about internet censorship and the shutdown of Telegram. We are finally concerned about the anti-gay law in Russia that creates a climate of hatred and stigma for LGBT people. All of these things are in violation of FIFA's human rights policy, and it sets a very bad example for the World Cup. So Human Rights Watch has been working with FIFA over a 2-year period to put in place human rights reforms and human rights protections. And an example of this is that FIFA has announced last week a human rights defenders and journalist freedom policy. They have set up a new mechanism so that if a journalist is arrested or obstructed from doing his or her work, he can file a complaint with FIFA and FIFA will act. So I think we are testing many of these new systems that we have put in place with FIFA, and we are hopeful that the Russian government will uphold the promises that they have made, for example, on LGBT rights, that gay people will not feel threatened or abused. There was a report in the Moscow Times that Cossacks will monitor and beat up gay people. That would be very negative, and it will be against FIFA's policies. Everyone who is going to the World Cup has a voice and should use it. One of the things that FIFA protects is free expression. So fans should not have to worry about expressing themselves if they are gay. They should be able to enjoy the games. Coaches, fans, players, families of fans, they should all understand the human rights conditions in Russia, and they should feel free to speak up and be critical if that's what they want to do. We will see. It's a week to go before the World Cup, so we will see if the new policies are implemented, right? So right now we know that at a very high level, FIFA has expressed support for human rights defenders, for press freedom, and so far FIFA has shown that they are prepared. For example, when a German journalist was denied a visa, FIFA spoke up very strongly and said he must be given a visa, and the Russian government reversed its position. So, so far we see that in some cases FIFA is willing to act, and in those cases the Russian government changes its position. FIFA, like the International Olympic Committee, would prefer that Human Rights Watch not expose human rights abuses around the World Cup, right? So no federation, no government likes to have human rights abuses exposed, but that's an important part of the work that we do. We bring this information to FIFA and we ask them to conduct your own investigation. So we have a good working relationship with FIFA. Increasingly, FIFA, like the International Olympic Committee, they understand that their interests are aligned with Human Rights Watch. So they don't want workers to die building the stadiums. That is against their policies. So I think FIFA doesn't like criticism. They don't like media coverage of human rights abuses. And we have said the way to stop this media coverage is to stop the human rights abuses.